Hi there Loomers, this is Chodaros, and today's tutorial is going to be on this really awesome bracelet. It was designed by a loomer from Norway, and it is actually a mashup between her Empire bracelet and Bling Out the Bullies. So technically what we're doing is adding the Empire bracelet border, and then the center is of Bling Out the Bullies. So I think it came out awesome. Here is the back, which is just as pretty. So I think I used about 19, I went up 19 pegs, so 2, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 32 beads. Because we have to put them on both sides, and you're also going to need a jump ring, and if you do not have jump rings or beads, you can always use a triple or quadruple cap band in its place. So let's grab our supplies and we'll get started. Alright, so we'll start out with this setup, which is the same for Bling Out the Bullies. Your first and last pin bar are at height A, we'll call it. Go down 1 peg, and second, third, fifth, sixth are at height B, and then go down 1 more peg, and your center is the furthest down from them all. Okay, so I'm going to loomer from Norway suggests going up maybe 18 to 20 beads. So we need to figure, keep the first row is always blank, and then we need to count up that many. And we'll see where we are for length, because I know I did the whole loom, 2 looms for Bling Out the Bullies, and it was too big. So these are like a royal blue metallic, and they are Trandex bands, good quality silicone. So I'm going to use this color for my border, and she does suggest this is the Empire bracelet border, which you can find on my channel. That was also designed by a loomer from Norway. That's the border that we're going to use. So we're just going to expand it from a 5 pin bar setup to this one. So we're just going to go out. Like we normally do. Okay? So you want to grab your next color, and we're going to, oh, I did it again. See, it's 3 a.m. That's whenever the goofy me comes out. I wanted to use purple. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to edit that because it's waste. I'm going to use glitter. No. Glitter, what are these called? Sweets. Purple from Rainbow Loom for the border. Okay, so in our border we have 3 bands. We have a band that's going to go out diagonally, and then we have a band that's going to go straight, and then we have a band that's going straight on this one. So these 2 pegs are covered with bands. So you want to make sure whatever colors you want in your border, we fit in here. So I'm going to use this blue to start out the pattern. So on the 2nd and 6th pin bar, when we go up 1. And then take your same color and you want to go out like that. And then we want to repeat and just go up 1 and then go out. So it's not hard, but you have to make sure that you always go up 1 and then do your band out, so it will loom correctly. So up 1, out. Alright, so I'm trying to see for length here. So if our beads, they go, they'll be laying right here. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Sorry. All right. I wanted to make sure I stopped at the right place. Okay, so I'm just going to look at this side. You're going to mirror, like we always do, everything from this side over to here. But I'm going to go ahead and show you the next step so we can tackle it at the same time. So you're going to go back to your border color, this one here, and we have our band going out. So what we want to do now is we want to take a band and go in like that. Ooh, I'm sorry. The first thing we want to do is lay a band going straight. I'm sorry. I'm like Artisan Loom now, unprepared, have to look back at my notes now. I'm just joking. Okay, we want to go up one on the outer pin bar, and then we want to take this one in like that. Okay, then we're going to go up one again and take it in. So we're basically doing the same thing that we did on this one on the outer pin bar. It's basically what it is. So remember, you always go up one and then take it in. So up one, and then take it in. Okay? So I think you guys would be okay to tackle those 2 steps at once. And, you know, obviously we're going to do the same thing on this side, always starting out with your band that goes forward first, and then taking your band diagonally in. Bands. Okay? Up one, and then going in. So let's finish that up till the end. We want to count up. So I counted up. Let me move my bands. I counted 18. Okay? But I want to go 19 because I'm pretty sure Loomer from Norway said she has a normal, but a little bit tinier than normal, maybe, wrist. So I'm going to go up to this peg right here, and I'm going to put a marker. Okay? So if I put a marker on this one, this is 19 beads. So if you go from the 3rd pin bar in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put your marker there at 7. Okay? And then that should put us at 19 down. And then let's loom up, let's place our bands up to this height, and I'll meet you up here whenever we're done placing these 2 steps. Okay, so this is what the end of your loom should look like. So our first step was what I have is blue. It ends with the band going forward. And then our last step ends with our band going in. So typically we would have another band here. So that's what that should look like. And that concludes the border. And that was, as I mentioned, the Empire bracelet border. Now we're going back over to the Bling Out the Bullies bracelet, and that is going to be the center. So our center includes jump rings. Okay, so I have these here, which I don't know why I'm using them because they are really hard to match. I shouldn't be using them, but whatever. They're like goldish or bronze color. So we're going to put these on every band, and they're going to be, trying to think what color I'm going to use. Gold. I'm going to use glitter gold. So they're going on every band, single chain up the center. So take a band, pinch it, and put this through. Actually, I'm going to start out the first band without one, okay? And then I'm going to start. Don't tell Loomer from Norway. I'm not changing her bracelet. Okay, so then let's put it in the center. These are, I think they're 6mm. You'll have to read the description. Always read my descriptions. I put all the details down in there, links and everything. But I think these are 6mm round. So looks about right. I used to use 10 all the time. These might be 8, but anywho, that's all we're doing here, and that's enough. Okay, so easy enough. Just finish this all the way up until we are even at the top. Okay, so we don't have any bands in the middle yet, but we want to take it to this center peg that is down one from where the rest of the bands are. Okay? Alright, so we'll finish that up and we will meet back down here to see what's coming up next. Okay, so all we have left now is the W single chains bling. W single chains bling. So I'm going to use these bands here. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name, but they are the thinner bands, excuse me, to 600 pack dual layer. So we're going to start out from the third peg in and go up, and then we're going to go in and then skip the middle and go in, then take it out up to the right. Okay, so that is our W. None of them are connected, so when we start the next one, we start it in the same form, but it's not connected to this first one. And then you go in, and then up to the right. So you want to form your W's all at once. Well, technically it's not like you have to. You could go all the way up the loom like this. And then you could come back and put that one on, whatever you prefer, as long as you do it right. Just teasing. Happy hour whenever I'm doing my tutorials at night. My dog's over there snoring like he's an 80-year-old man. Can you hear it? I've never in my life believed that a dog snores like that. It is so insane. He's a Shih Tzu. It's a purebred champion Shih Tzu. And I have 2 of them, and my girl, Sasha, is the quietest, perfect dog. And a lot of it has to do with because I trained her and raised her. And my husband had the responsibility of the boy, which he's like a couple years younger than her, and he's rotten. So that just goes to show who cares about training and who doesn't. But he has his nose is half shut or something. I don't know. I had $500 surgery on them. Didn't fix it. They're like, yeah, it didn't work. I'm like, yeah, give me back my money. Okay, there's all of our W's that we're going to continue up our loom. And we're going to go ahead and do the next step too before we come back. Okay, so we want to make sure all of our bands are pressed down. And the next step is just going to be adding 2 single chains on both sides of your center peg. So, what color should I use? Gold. Okay, so once you have all of your W's placed, come back down to the beginning, and on the 3rd and 5th pin bar, just simply doing a single chain. Okay, pretty simple. And then when you come back, we will be doing bling. And after the bling comes the looping. Okay, so finish that up and we'll come back and start blinging. Okay, we are ready for doubling. These are 8mm glass pearl beads, and I'm going to place them. I don't want to place them too close to the end. I'm going to start right here. So 3 up in the center goes the right side, and then we stretch it over to 3 up on the 2nd pin bar. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret before I bring it out to the world. This band that I'm using is the ultimate best band I have ever used for bling. It is, out of any band that I have ever had, the actual bling band. It's phenomenal. It's the brand Talented Kids, and I just did a review on their bands, and that will be shortly, or if it's not already, out on my channel. They are the thinnest bands that I've used yet, but are definitely the best bands for bling. Alright, so the goal is we don't want a bead bigger than our center chain, or that chain. So this looks like it's the ultimate largest bead you can use without it bulging. It fits in there good. So this is their clear band, and all of their bands are of this consistency, and highly recommend adding bling. So we're going to see how they work today as far as looming them up on this type of a bracelet. Okay, so finish that up. Make sure that your beads are somewhat in the center of that chain, and turn your loom around when you're finished, and we're going to start looping. Alright, we are ready for looping. So we're pretty much going to, well, we're looming from the center out. This first step that we're going to do is just these 2 single chains, and then we're going to come back and do these now M, used to be W bracelet or bands. So we go on the cap band, excuse me, and we want to just take that perimeter band out. So we can allow it to act as a cap band for our single chains that we need to loom. Okay, so as always, just going straight forward. So this is not going to be as big as your bead. Just make sure that your bead lies in between the gold or your single chain band. Okay? Wow, isn't up? There we go. See how this one is to the side? Just make sure that doesn't happen. Because when we go to loom out our W's, which are now M's, it will open up the whole area for where our bead is, and it will make it perfect. Okay, so we're going to do that side, and then we're going to do this side. So we're not going to touch our beaded bands. Everything around it is going to hold it in place. So that's it. All right, loom up your center, loom up your 2 single chains, and then we'll come back for our next step. Okay, next step is to loom out our ends. So we're going to start with these 2 bands that are going down because we already loomed out, because I called the front ones the perimeter. So just go inside that one tiny band, bring that back down to itself. Okay, now from here on out, we start out in this peg here, in whichever band is on top, which it should be this one. Bring it back down, and then we go back into that same peg and then bring it to the center. And then we want to do the same exact in this peg, so it's the 2 pegs where we have our single chains. You want to go with the band on top, which now this time it is this band here, and then this one comes back down. So essentially it doesn't matter what order they're in if you place them differently, as long as they are making teardrops and not connected. Okay, so then we come back up to go up to the next one, bring this one down, back in, bring this one to the center, and back in this one to the center, and last this one down. So you can see how it is securing our bling bands. Plus we still have the border to loom up, so, and you see it's opening up that space there. So it's makes your bling more visible. So same thing, just follow it across. Always taking everything back to itself. I'm going to do this because I want my bands to be a little bit straighter. Okay. All right, let's finish that up. And then we have our center chain to do, which will incorporate it's a different type of looping, so we'll do that one next. All right, so if you've done other loomer from Norway's bracelets with these jump rings, you'll understand how we're going to loom them. If not, it's just a tad bit different than normal, but pretty neat. So what we need to do is we need to loom this band how we normally loom it forward through this ring. Okay, so we want to grab it as we normally do. Then we want to take, and I'm going to put my hand over here just so you can see. Nope. I need to back up the camera. All right, so we're going to hold, let's see if I can move this. You need to hold the band off the peg, and then you want to take your hook, and you need to stick your hook through that jump ring. Sorry. Maybe from the other end it would work better for filming. Then you want to turn your hook and let it grab that band in your hand and let go. So the only part is you just want to make sure that you turn your hook a little bit there to get it through the jump ring, and then you just simply place it on the peg. Okay, so that puts the jump ring on the outside of that band, and that way it is visible when we are done. So let me see if I can try one more time where you guys can see it a little bit better. Or, no, I don't have another hook. Could have probably used another hook. So grab that band, and you actually, I can let it go. You can let it go because there's so many bands on there, the tension will hold it still. So now we want to stick our hook through facing us. It works best if you can hold up your jump ring, but I don't want to put my hands in front of the camera. Okay, once you have it through the jump ring, just put that band on the end of your hook. It is super easy to do off camera. Oops. Like whenever I stop filming and finish up the bracelet, it takes me 3 seconds to go up the loom. There we go. So we have it on our hook. Just turn it a tad, bring it through that jump ring and on the next peg. And like that. Okay, I'll do one more. Okay. It's worth it. If you might be thinking that it's a pain or time consuming, trust me, it's worth it because the outcome is beautiful. So let's finish that up, and then all we have left to do is our border, and then we can see our rendition. Okay, so our last step is to loom up the perimeter, but it is a non-traditional perimeter. Again, it's the Empire bracelet one, so if you've done that bracelet, you'll find this familiar. Basically, what we're going to do is whatever band that is diagonal, it gets loomed forward. Whatever band is straight gets loomed to the side. So you're going to do the opposite on how it is laid. So we're going to start out in this pin here. My thumb in your eye. And we want to grab the band that's going diagonally, so our perimeter. And we want to loom that. So traditionally, we would loom it back to itself. But in this case, we want to loom it forward. But my bands are crooked. Hang on one second. I was practicing and I had to put them back on. Make sure they're in the right order. Alright, there we go. Okay, so this band gets loomed forward. So all diagonal bands forward. And we go back in the same pin, and it has a band on the bottom here, and that band is a straight band. So we do the opposite, and instead of taking it back to itself, we want to take it to the right. Okay? So then we're going to start in this peg here, and the band on top is this one that's going straight. So with every straight band, we want to take it to the side diagonally. So instead of going forward, we go over here. And on the bottom here is our diagonal band. We want to go in and we want to grab that one, and this one gets loomed straight forward. Okay? Trust me, it's the best border I've ever had on a bracelet or seen. I love it. Okay, so after we're done doing this one, we want to come over to this peg and do the same. So we're going to be alternating all the way up. So we want to grab the band on top, which it is this diagonal band going over to this pin here. So you're going through some tight bands. Okay, so all diagonals go straight. And then the last band on here is the one that's straight forward, right here. So the last band, you want to grab that one, and all straight bands go diagonal. So that is technically our first sequence right there. So we want to start it over again. So since we did this pin, we go back to the last pin bar here. So always grabbing what's on top, and that's the straight band. And all straight bands get loomed diagonally. And the next band that is under is the diagonal band going from here to here. All diagonal bands get loomed forward. Okay, so now we come back to this peg and we do the same. So the first band that's on here is this diagonal. So we want to take the diagonal and loom it forward. The next band on here is the straight one. I'm going to take that one and loom it diagonally. Okay, so we're doing the opposite of what we laid. So now that we have this one done, we're changing back over to this side. So I'm going to go a tad faster. Straight band goes diagonal, diagonal band goes straight. Come over to this side, diagonal band get loom straight, and straight band diagonal. It's a tight border, so you want to make sure that you did use those stretchy bands to hold all the tension. So then we come out to this peg here, straight band diagonal, diagonal band straight, diagonal band straight, straight band diagonal. Back into this one, straight band diagonal, diagonal band straight, diagonal band straight, and straight band diagonal. Okay, so once you get the hang of it, it isn't difficult. It's just keeping up with where you're at. So I'll go ahead and show you this side. Now this side I have to zoom out because I am left-handed, and you won't be able to see it up close. So we want to start with this perimeter band here. So go into this peg, grab that band, and it's a diagonal, so we need to take it forward. So underneath we have a straight band. So go under that cap band, grab that straight band. Straight bands go diagonal. So then we come out to this pin where we just left off. The top band that we have is a straight band. So all straight bands, they go diagonal. And underneath is a diagonal, so all diagonals go straight. Come into this peg here, grabbing that diagonal band. All diagonal bands go straight. And then under the last band is the straight one, which looms diagonally. And then we come back out to here. Diagonal band is on top. No, I'm sorry, it's the straight band. It's on top. So straight goes diagonal. Underneath, diagonal goes straight. And then diagonal band goes straight. And under the last band is the straight band goes diagonal. Okay, I'll do one more. So we start where we left off, and we have a straight band on top, so straight goes diagonal, and diagonal goes forward straight. And then diagonal is on top. So this diagonal goes straight, and the last band is a straight band, so it goes out to diagonal. Yeah, I'll do one more. So again, we start in where we left off, so that is a straight band, so it goes in diagonally. And then go back in, and that's a diagonal band, which goes straight. Over to this side, the first one on top is the diagonal band, which goes straight. And then underneath is diagonal band. Oof. I have to see it. I'm usually on top of it. Did I do that incorrectly? Where did this band? No, that's correct. And now this diagonal band will go over. I think I did that right. I'm going to look and see. Yep, because there's no bands. Oh, I'm sorry. I always look through my loom and it's clean. I grabbed all the bands at least. Alright, so if you need further assistance, just rewind and follow the process. So we're going to follow this all the way up to the end, and then we'll meet up there and close it up. But every other pin on the outer pin bars is going to have a ton of very high tension bands. Is it every other or every third? Okay, so you want to be really careful when you go to take it off the loom, and you be sure that we need to take this off peg by peg, as we have high tension beads in a lot of bands. Okay, so we'll meet up at the top when we're done. Okay, we are finally ready to loom the last row. So we're just going to go into this outer pin and take it in and follow the next one in, and then finally, that's not the right band. Okay, that's where I stop on this side. So then come over to this corner And the last band, loom it in. Next one, loom it in. And finally, we loom this band to the center. Ta-da! We are now complete with this beautiful bracelet. So we have our close-up man down here. Go through all of those bands on that pin, grab it, stretch it. If you go like this, you know you've gotten all of the bands. So I'm just going to do a slip knot to hold it. Now we want to come back down. And I want to start with the front row, taking the bands off to alleviate tension. Okay, so then I just want to do my outer pins first. And same thing on the left side here. Okay, after I've got those, going into the next pin in line. And we want to take those off next. Okay, and then we want to go over to the other side and do the same. We got our second row. Oh no, did I forget to loom a band? Oh God, gosh. I hope it doesn't fall apart. Go through here and grab that band. Oh hell, they're already loomed up. So I do this just to keep it intact, maybe. So we have enough tension on the outer pin bars relieved where we can kind of work in the center. So these bands have a lot on them. So you want to make sure that you get all of them. And you see how this one right here is caught. Okay, we want to make sure that we're getting underneath all of them, so they are not getting stopped. So after that, pretty smooth sailing. Again, just watching these bands that aren't caught on one of the pins. Alright, so let's finish up taking it off our loom. And then we get to see the final result. Alrighty, this is my final rendition. I love it. I like the colors. I like a brown gold, bead. And then the jump rings are like a gold as well. So you might have to go up and fix bands depending on what type of band that you used. So you can see there's one coming down and then over. So if you need to straighten them out. It's a good time to go ahead and do it. Like that. And then we also have these bands that we laid inside here. I know I for sure want to make sure all my bands are straight. Okay, so for the most part, it came out great without crooked bands, to be honest. This is just being, you know, goofy. But these are metallic bands, which means they don't twist. So I have all the faith in the world in them. Okay, so again, this is by Knox 21. So we want to thank her for this fabulous rendition or design, Summer Paradise. So be sure to check it out and make your rendition and hashtag it on Instagram so we can see what the other options of color are. So again, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for joining me and continuing to support me and whatnot. So happy looming, and we'll see you next time.